Is it just me, or have you found yourself longing to buy a Longines over the past few years? Consistently, they have come out with some really cool watches. Today, we're going to take a look at one of the coolest, I think, at least in my opinion. It's the Ultra-Chron. The Ultra-Chron was a reissue of a watch from the 1970s. It's a dive watch, and it gets a high beat automatic that is proprietary to Longines. I actually did a news video about this watch when it came out. I was very excited. Today I have one hands-on, so let's flip the camera and take a look at the Ultra-Chron diver. Longines have been on a real tear recently. Today we're taking a look at the Ultra-Chron, but they've been coming out with tons of really cool watches that I think collectors are really taking note of. One of them was the Zulu time. They recently came out with a chronograph. They also came out with a vintage inspired master with a sort of engraved dial that looks absolutely beautiful. Lots of new watches coming from Longines, and all of them really beautiful. This is one of them. This is the Ultra-Chron diver, high beat movement inside the L836. And obviously the high beat movement in here, kind of rare. There's not many divers out there with a high beat movement unless you go to Grand Seiko. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below, but I believe there are not many out there. Anyway, this is a modern reinterpretation of that original dive watch. However, it has a lot of the same characteristics, even though some of the materials have changed, like a sapphire bezel insert and sapphire crystal. The original had bakelite and obviously not a sapphire crystal, but you do get a very similar dial with one change that I really like. This does not have a date. The original, almost all the originals have a date. That is the diver that I am talking about. You still get these applied indices. They are filled with lume and actually liberally applied with lume. I really am impressed with the lume on this watch. Also, this little triangle, the 15, the 45, and the 30 on the bezel filled with lume. So we'll do a lume shot at the end. It's actually impressive for an ETA product. Now, speaking of ETA products, this gets the L836. It is a proprietary movement to Longines. So you cannot get this movement, this high beat movement, in any other watches from the ETA group. And as I mentioned before, it gets 52 hours of power reserve. It's a high beat movement. And obviously on the dial, you can see right there is the Ultra-Chron logo. That is a little logo that's sort of a heartbeat rate. It looks really cool. I think that's what they're going for. And then it just says Longines right there. Those are applied, which is really nice. And then you have sort of a matte black pebbled dial, and then a flat bezel insert that is sapphire. As I mentioned, a big grippy signed crown. The case is large. It's around 43 millimeters. I'll do measurements in just a few minutes, but it's in keeping with the original watch. So the original watch was large as well. This is large as well. So I think the original was around 41 or 43 millimeters. I think this is essentially the same size as the original. Now, this is on the leather strap. They make it on a straight link bracelet as well. That straight link bracelet sort of looks like a beads of rice. It doesn't integrate into the case really well, but I think it looks better on the bracelet than I do the strap. I would definitely go for the bracelet always. And then of course you could always get an aftermarket strap or buy one of the straps that they are offering. This is actually a really nice cav leather strap. It's very, very nice, sort of a raw cav leather. It's bolstered, which I don't really love. So like I said, I would go for the bracelet, which is a nice bracelet. It doesn't have any quick release. It has a little bit of micro adjust on it. There is no on the fly micro adjust. So I wish that they would do that at this price point. That is a little bit of a disappointment. The hands on here, you have a red minutes hand loomed, and then you have a silver toned hour hand. There is lume on the hour hand. There is no lume on that seconds hand. I'm not sure why they didn't lume that. They probably should have. It would have been nice to have a little bit of lume so you could see that working in the dark. I'm pretty sure there is no lume, but we will do a lume shot and double check that towards the end. Now, the original ones had this red in the bezel, so the vintage versions of this have red in the bezel. I don't remember if the hour hand and minute hands were the same color. I believe that the minute hand was orange on the original. They did this in black. It could be that the originals have faded and they look more orange than red now, but it makes sense to be in red because it obviously matches the bezel. So very quickly, let's do some size here and check out the size. So 43.4 millimeters is what I have measured around that. So it's like 43.3, almost a 43.5mm watch, so it's not a very small watch, obviously. 13.8 millimeters thick. Crown is very large at 6.5 millimeters, and you have a very short lug to lug because of the shape of the case. It is basically 49 millimeters flat. And the finishing on Longines, always very impressive, very crisp transitions from polishing and brushing. This is a cushion shaped case and it wears very, very nicely on wrist. I'll show you that in just a few seconds. Screwed in case back, and it just has the Longines Ultra-Chron logo right there. And that's it. Very, very simple. But well executed. The buckle on here is the Longines buckle. Usually if you get this, I believe, in the box, so this is obviously a sample that they sent me over, but usually you get like a giant presentation box. I don't know if this comes with a NATO strap. I believe it might, and I believe the bracelet version does not. So the bracelet version is $3,700. This version is $3,500. I, for $200, would 100% get the bracelet, because obviously you could buy a strap aftermarket or even buy one of their straps aftermarket if you want it, and I would do that rather than getting this strap. It's a nice strap, like I said, but it makes a lot more sense to get the bracelet. Today I have on my Heuer 510-501 in the original PVD, on the original bracelet with the original dial, original crystal. This whole thing is original. It is awesome. And I love this watch. It's really one of my favorite vintage watches, and I just think that it looks awesome. I wish Heuer would reissue these. I don't think they have. It would make a lot of sense, because I think a lot of people really like them, especially with Top Gun being so popular, Maverick, the movie. I think it would look, or I think they would make a lot of money off of those. Anyway, here is the Ultra-Chron on my 7.5-inch wrist. You can see that that bezel, excuse me, definitely has a lot of shine to it, but you could read it. So the indices don't wash away. The case looks great. The bracelet, the strap looks really good and is actually very comfortable. All in all, it doesn't hang over the sides of my wrist. I don't think it looks like a 43mm watch. It wears like a 42mm watch because of the cushion case. I just think it's a great looking watch. And for the price, you're getting a high beat movement inside. There's not many manufacturers that are doing that now in a dive watch. So something to think about. Anyway, very quickly, a lume shot. You can see the lume is actually pretty decent on here. All of the little dots are lume. Those are the indices. There's little dots of lume on those, but the primary indices, you get these sort of like large blocks that have metal set on top of them, and then you have lume in the bezel, which I think looks great. I'm not sure if the originals had lume in their bezel as well. They could have, but I think this is a great looking watch. There is no lume on the second hand. That's the only complaint that I have here. $3,500, I actually think is a really good price for this. $3,700 is what I would go for that bracelet. Guys, if you weren't able to tell, I'm a little bit sick, a little bit under the weather, so I'm gonna wrap up the video here. Hopefully you guys found this video interesting or helpful. Definitely check out exquisitetimepieces.com. They are obviously very helpful for my channel. They lend me watches. I very much appreciate it, so definitely check out their website. Like I said, they are an authorized dealer for Longines, but not only Longines, like 60 other brands, Seiko, all the brands that we talk about here on my channel. So definitely check out their website. And if you're in Naples, Florida, definitely stop by their showroom and tell them Watch Chris sent you. Anyway, thank you for logging on, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.